Hello and welcome to Sports Point. My name is Griffin Wright. Alongside with me is Coach Josh Gillon for the High Points men's soccer team. And Coach, I want to say thank you for being here. It means a lot to us. We want to talk about a great player and a great person. Holden Trent unfortunately passed away too early, and you know him really well. Can we just talk about how you guys met, your original experience with Holden, that relationship?
Yeah, I was at Catawba College in Salisbury, Division II. I believe it was my second year there. I was working for North Carolina ODP, Olympic Development Program, and had the chance to work with the U12 team, goalkeepers in specific. And there was Holden, and I think he was in Winston-Salem at that time. And I was fortunate enough from that point, I moved to High Point in 2013, took the assistant's job here. And the team that I got at the local club was his team again. So U12, U13, and ended up finishing with him as his goalkeeper coach from 13 years old all the way to his graduating senior year. And then a year later, bring him in, which is a really cool thing to be able to say and do. And I've never been able to do it with anyone else. So literally the longest time I've ever coached one player.
Yeah, talking about that, recruiting a player, we talk about the academy, and it's a little different in the United States than it is Europe. But recruiting a player, what was the kind of process? I mean, obviously, you know this kid was talented, and you got him here.
Yeah.
What was the recruiting process of getting him here?
Well, his was interesting because we saw each other every day, and we had those interactions every day. I always felt that Holden had more to give than he had an opportunity. He had an incredible goalkeeper ahead of him, Alex Smear, who's with Minnesota United. So we had two MLS goalkeepers on one team. There's probably one or two teams in the country that have that, even to this day. So allowing him his space to sort of grow and figure himself out, while also being a backup to someone who's a year older and really talented, that was difficult. But you just knew, like, there's just a motivation piece that some players have. They have an it. Holden had that it, and it was clear from the get-go that we weren't tapping into that just yet in the youth level. And, you know, he had to wait through, you know, he went to West Virginia for a semester, redshirted. He moved back to us his second semester of his freshman year, redshirted again. And then COVID hit his first fall. So he waited and waited and waited, but you just always knew that, you know, he had that. He had the it, and that was, you know, that was a credit to him and the environment of those guys that we all trained together. And that, I think, differentiated that group of players, particularly Holden himself and Alex Smear. And that changed the trajectory of my career and also theirs. So it's really cool.
Listen, you said he had that it, but there's only a few players that I can say I've watched that really changed this program, and Holden is one of them.
Agreed.
When you brought him in, did you think, like, oh, this kid's going to change this program? Obviously, you have a lot of confidence in the kid, but what he did in this career, and he is going to go down as probably the best High Point goalie, and I can say Big South goalie. If you want me to keep going, I can go North Carolina and whatever. Did you really see that? And obviously you saw the it, but did you see what he was going to do in the future?
It's so hard to say because you have to believe in your players, and I think that we're realistic at the same time. You just kind of felt if things lined up for them that his upside was really high. What we didn't suspect is for all the intangibles that he had that he really hadn't tapped into until he was probably 20. Those things started to show, and then you started to understand, you know, his ceiling was so much higher than what you probably initially thought. So when you start to see those little things accrue and aggregate, and they become big steps that a lot of players don't take, you know, it makes it very clear is like we can go anywhere in the country and we can beat anybody because of that guy. And we had great players. We still have guys on that team that he played with here now. We have several guys that are pros, and they're all a part of that. But Holden was so special that even those guys knew we can do something special every single night with him and behind us.
Yeah, and that's really translated into this team. I've seen it. Jefferson Amaya being one of them. He has the same attitude that Holden did, and I only saw Holden for a year, but I've seen what he can do. And obviously, we got to talk about the tough time that we endured when that couple days when we found out what was happening to Holden. I mean, you guys were on a tear, a 10-game win streak, number one hit goes down, and a terrible incident with Holden. I mean, what was going through your mind? What was going through the locker room's mind? I can only imagine.
Yeah, that was probably the most difficult 2 to 3 weeks I've ever had in my coaching career. I've done this for 15 or 16 years now. There's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. I just knew that we needed to do it together.
Yeah.
And then if we had that, Zach is an incredible leader of this program, and he set such a good tone even for us in the office. But we had to lean on each other, because there were days where he was off. There were days when I was off. There were days when all of us were off. And Mason and Tony do such a great job too, that we just sort of played and got through every day. Hearing that news is it's surreal still. It's very difficult to sort of wrap your brain around losing a young person who has so much promise and only really kind of tapping into his life. It hits in a different way. But what I think of is, we owe these guys that are putting so much in and representing him and our past alumni. We owe them the best version of ourselves that we could offer. I'd be lying if I didn't say that wasn't a great version of us for that 2 or 3 weeks. But we got through it. We did it together. And, I don't wish it on anyone. I still don't quite probably look back in a couple of years and understand it a little bit better. But, those guys were devastated, and we were devastated. And we were devastated not only for ourselves, but for his family and his fiancee Bree. And that was it was a surreal moment. So all we knew we needed to do was just be together, and we felt like we could get through it. And that's still the case today. We still talk to his sister Eliza and Annie B, his mom, and Bree. We got a group chat, and we're always kind of picking on certain things or telling stories, and that probably helps us a little bit.
Yeah, good. And I saw the togetherness. I know the results didn't go the way you guys wanted to, and trust me, I was rooting for you guys. Really, I really was. You guys could do dangerous things in the tournament. Obviously, it didn't end the way, but going on to next season, what do you want people to remember Holden by? I mean, obviously he's a great player, but I know he goes beyond just a player. Yeah,
he does. He was a special person to so many people, particularly me. That amount of time that we had with him, or I had with him. Again, I haven't been able to do something like that ever. It's the only one that I can say that about. He was so relentless in like his pursuit of being the best version of himself, particularly these last couple of years. The drive and the competitiveness, there's a real mentality that is something that a lot of people don't get to see on a daily basis from high level athletes practicing. He epitomized that. And he was also the first one to reach out to guys when they needed something. He was the first one to reach out to me when when we were moving houses, and if you need something, let me know. And he was being available and being a teammate is so much more important than looking a certain way or getting Instagram likes. And Holden didn't care about that. He wanted to win. He wanted to be a part of something special. And if there's anything that I hope that bleeds through this program for as long as it exists, whether I'm here or not, it is that mentality. You can do special things, and that mentality you can achieve so much more. And again, togetherness is such a part of that. But man, what a leader! I just felt like we could do anything with Holden. Holden had the special it quality, and knowing you can go out and watch, or you watch film on a team and they're really good, and he's going to have to be even better today. But knowing it was possible, man, that's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, and obviously, we wish you and your team and Holden's family my prayers and my sincere hopes. I know next year is going to be a little personal, and we talked about it before. You guys have an exciting season coming up. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to watch it. I appreciate your time. I know it was difficult, but I hope that we can get a message out to just describe Holden besides a soccer player, and I hope he's remembered as a better person than he was a soccer player. So I really appreciate that from you and joining us. And from me, from Coach, this is Sports Point. Thank you for watching.